and welcome to this third lecture of the overview section where we're going to look at the process overview. I'm Arun Singhal, your management coach and mentor with 40 years of experience in people development. So, in this section, so far we have looked at what is a value proposition, why develop a value proposition, winning value proposition, and in this particular lecture, we're going to look at how we will take an overview of how to develop a winning value proposition. So let's quickly recap what we learned about the winning value proposition, right? So the winning value proposition, as we saw earlier, for a product and service is a short, persuasive description of the product and services that can arouse the interest of your target customer. And the winning part comes is by enabling them to switch from their current product and services use, and then continue using your product and services in required numbers, as many as you wanted, and to get a price that can make your business viable, right? It is not a winning value proposition is not a short persuasive description that can arouse the interest only as much as the current product and services. It has to arouse the interest at a higher level. And it is not the description that you cannot deliver to the full satisfaction of your target customer. And it also is not one that cannot get you the prices that you need to make your business viable. So as you see, winning value proposition is very key to a viable business, right? Also we saw that winning value proposition is key to developing the communications to your target customer to arouse their interest in them and get them. It is the centerpiece for creating all your communication content in different formats. And it is ultimately that brand image that you want to build in target customers' mind. And it's the promise that you make to your target customers to get them, which you will ultimately fulfill through your rest of the value chain. Without it, as we saw, your probability of success can still be 2 to 50% at best, 50%, because this is the big idea on which the rest is built: the product, the target customer, the marketing. And your business can still be very fragile to sustainably compete because in the absence of a customer preference of your product over others if you don't have a winning value proposition. So if it is so important, how do we go about developing a winning value proposition? Any thoughts? Okay. So it's a four-step process that you see on your screen. We start with generating consumer insight, and the focus there primarily is to understand what are the need gaps. What are the customers not getting today that you can possibly fulfill? And apart from that, gather other information as you will see along in when we cover that section. Once you have the consumer insight in which you know what are the pain points, what are the missing things that the consumer is not getting, then you develop a concept around that. And how do you do that? We will talk about. And in this promise, you figure out what is it that you can fulfill, how can you fulfill that unmet needs of the customer and why. And then the winning part, that's still a part of normal value proposition. As you go forward, then you do the testing of the concept. And how we do that, we will talk about it. In which we test, does it have that enough traction that you're looking for in terms of arousing that much of interest so that the customers come and start using your product versus what they're using for the competitor and are willing to pay you the price that you're looking for. And it can happen is that in the first attempt you don't get the willing concept, and you also do that you will see is the diagnostics of whatever the level of your traction of your product and concept is. And with that you go back and develop. So it's a bit of an iterative process, and the iteration depends on how good is your consumer insights. And at the end of that iterative process, you can have a winning concept. So that's the process, and we will take a look at each of these steps in the lectures that go forward. So what do we do next? So in the next module, we will go with the first step of developing the winning value proposition with consumer insight generation. Thank you so much for watching this lecture, and I hope you're continuing to learn something new, you're continuing to like it, and I look forward to see you again in the next lecture.